Greetings to all revolutionary forces in Cuba. Indeed, today we join you as the Young Communist League of South Africa to pay tribute firstly to one of the struggle icon, a leader that will never be forgotten, the moment that we'll never forget. Indeed, it has been 4 years since he has departed from this world, but his ideas will remain with us, and we shall continue with the spear to liberate our people and continue to make sure that we defeat imperialism and we defeat neoliberalism. So indeed, this conference, we highly appreciate that is dedicated to Comandante Fidel Castro. And indeed, we bring sincere greetings from the rank and files of the YCL, but again, the Progressive Youth Alliance in South Africa and the African working class youth, that we find ourselves having a responsibility to organize them. And indeed, it's not a shock today that we are part of those that are sending our message of support, and again, to reflect a bit on the historical relations that Cuba and South Africa has enjoyed. And indeed, even during the era of COVID-19, Cuba is one of those countries that has proven beyond reasonable doubt and showed the whole world that indeed socialism is the future. And we have to indeed, all of us, believe that the world can change. We can still be able to get a better world and defeat capitalism, defeat neoliberalism, defeat imperialism. And as we honor and remember the legacy of Comandante Fidel, we need to indeed remind ourselves that the struggle must continue. And we need to make sure that we continue in our solidarity to Cuba in particular, that under difficult times where they are still subjected to the economic, social, and political embargoes by the United States-led imperialism, but they have shown the world their humanity when the whole world was faced with a pandemic that could have wiped all of us, but Cuba extended its hand to the whole world and sent its troops in white gowns to come and make sure that the whole world can fight, can have strength to fight against this invisible enemy. And indeed, I think this is the best tribute that we can ever give to Comandante Fidel, and we must really appreciate, because even as a country, we believe that we managed to fight against, while we are still cautious of a second wave that can hit us. We'll continue to make sure that we adhere to the regulations that our government has set out, and make sure that again we give support and solidarity to the frontline workers that are joined by the Cuban troops, that indeed their presence has made a mark, has made an impact to the country as a whole. And it's very much important, comrades, to really send our message of gratitude to you during this conference as we continue to strengthen international relations and remind ourselves that indeed international solidarity is not just an act of charity, but it's always about those that share a common perspective and are ready to advance the struggle for a better world together. And indeed, we are gathered today to be able to support each other, and says that we need to unite the whole world and fight against imperialism. We need to fight against the neoliberalism, and we must crush and defeat capitalism. Despite the elections outcome in the US, that so far we are not yet convinced that we'll see change. It's only when we see practical ways, and one of those practical ways is when now the new leadership at the helm of the United States can be able to uplift the economic sanctions that are meted against Cuba, that are meted against Venezuela, the whole Latin America and all other countries. It is only when we see the new administration administration being able to appreciate that they were on the offensive in the Middle East and they've continued to undermine international law, and start to normalize some of these issues and continue to normalize relations with Palestine, then it is then we can say things are better. But as things stand, we need to fight, we need to unite and make sure that all of us, we confront this brutal system, and we continue to put pressure on the US-led imperialism to be able to respect international law and understand that each and every country has its right for sovereignty and it must be respected to continue to live. But we must be clear that indeed Cuba, you have inspired us in many ways where against all these difficulties you remain resilient, you remained a force united with its people, and make sure that you continue to offer human solidarity across the world and to continue to fight against these embargoes. And indeed, with these few words, we want to wish the conference a success and always count us as the Young Communist League in any battle against imperialism, in any battle against neoliberalism. Will always be side by side with the Young Communist League of Cuba and all other progressive forces in the country. Mandla.